this video, we're going to look at the next component in our English section, which is jumbled sentences. Now, when it comes to jumbled sentences, it's almost like a game. It's a puzzle where you hunt for clues and then you unravel the jumbled sentences to logically connect and form, meaningful context. Right? Now, there are two types. One, you will come across factual or concept-based jumbled sentences, usually something that you will find in your PO exam. And then, of course, you have the second type, which is a story-based jumbled sentence, which you will also find in, which you will find in your clerk exam. Right? Now, are there certain strategies that we need to apply for jumbled sentences? Yes, we do. What are the clues that we need to look for? We're going to look at all of that as well. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at what are those clues that we need to look for. You have certain signal words and hint words, right, which kind of help give that sequence and help give that flow, right? So what are those clue words or hint words? Let's look at that first. I'm just going to list down certain hint words and clue words which you need to look out for when you approach jumbled sentences. So let's look at the first type of clue words or hint words. The first one is something that gives us a sequence or a chronology, right? So this comes after this, this comes after this, first, then, next, initially, subsequently, finally, right? So those are clue words and hint words that give you some sort of a sequence or chronology. Chronology means in order. First thing happens, then the next thing happens, and after that something happens, right? So let me list out those clue words for you. Yeah, so those are some examples. First, next, then, initially, subsequently, finally. Those are some clue words that give us some sort of a sequence. All right. You can also look for contrasting clue words. Let's look at them. Yeah, so these are some contrasting clue words. However, but, although, yet, rather, while. We also have cause and effect clue words, right? There is X, because of X there is Y, or as a consequence of X, Y happened, right? So what are those cause and effect? Cause is the reason and effect is the consequence of that reason, right? So what are some clue words on those lines? Let's take a look at that. Right? So those are some cause and effect clue words for you: because, as, since, accordingly, consequently. All right. We also have descriptive clue words. What are these? It describes something. There's an explanation given. There's some sort of additional information, supporting something. So what are those clue words? Let's take a look at that. Right? So those are some descriptive clue words for you. I've just given some examples. There are much more. There are many more. For example, for instance, such as in addition, furthermore, also, to begin with, likewise, right? So these are all some descriptive clue words. However, we need to remember that not all sentences or not all paragraphs necessarily have clue words and hint words. In that case, what do we do? Now, one of the first strategies that you would apply is, when it comes to jumbled sentences, is to identify the topic sentence. Now, what's a topic sentence? A topic sentence is the introductory sentence that tells you what the paragraph is going to be about, right? It introduces the main theme, the focus of the paragraph. Now, that's a topic sentence, right? Once you've identified the topic sentence, there are always some key words and focus words in each sentence. Right? There will be a highlighting word which, if you identify or if you learn to identify, will help you logically connect the next sequential sentence. So in terms of, apart from these clue words and hint words, the first thing you will do is identify the topic sentence and then move on to look for keywords or hint words or highlighting words within the sentence, and then look at how we can logically connect it to the next sentence. That highlighting word would be expanded, elaborated, or described in the next sequential sentence. You need to look for that. Another strategy that you can apply is to simply ask questions. Asking questions also helps you logically connect sentences. Why did this happen? What was the reason? Who, when, where, how, right? So asking questions also help you logically connect and sequence sentences together. Now that's exactly what we're going to do. Keep in mind all these strategies that we just discussed. So while we attempt those jumble sentences, we are going to apply all of these strategies. Let's get started with our first jumble sentence. So we're going to look at our first jumble sentence. Let's take a look at that. The first one we have here is, nobody likes to practice it, no matter how easy and how beneficial it is. Now, the first thing that you need to remember is you don't have to read the entire sentence, because our first strategy is to identify the topic sentence. So we read a couple of words from each sentence and identify the topic sentence. If you look at sentence A, it says nobody likes to practice it. What is that it referring to? It cannot be my topic sentence. An ounce of patience is worth, or at times even better than a. This is almost like a fact, like a saying, right? C, patience, a virtue, is considered to be even better than, okay, that seems like a topic sentence, but let's move on. D, this is the worst drawback. What is that this referring to? It cannot be my topic sentence. Every one of us agrees with this fact. What fact? It cannot be my topic sentence. But unfortunately, it's starting with a contrasting clue word. I know for a fact that it cannot be my topic sentence. So out of all the 6 sentences that we've seen, so sentence C seems to be the topic sentence. Correct? So patience, a virtue, is considered to be even better than wisdom. Now that's our first introductory sentence. I know that the highlighting word or the focus word there is patience. So is there another sentence elaborating that, elaborating on patience, giving me an explanation about patience? Which sentence would that be? A, B, D, E, or F? We have an answer. That would be B. An ounce of patience is worth, or at times even better than, a pound of brains. So that is giving me an example of patience, right? It's almost like a saying. It's a fact, right? Born out of experience. Now, we understand that this is a fact and this is a saying. So is there a sentence referring to this fact? Which sentence is that? Is it A, D, E, or F? That is right, it is E. Every one of us agrees with this fact. What is the fact? That an ounce of patience is worth, or at times even better than, a pound of brains. We agree with this fact, right? In principle, without reservation. So again, there is some clue words within the sentence saying, yes, everyone agrees with this in theory, but what about, an application? So is there a sentence talking about what happens when it comes to applying this principle? Is there a contradicting sentence? Yes, the only contradicting sentence that we have is F. But unfortunately, when it comes to practicing patience, which is the application part, there is a problem. Remember, I said one of the strategies is also to ask questions. This is where you need to apply it. What is the problem? Which is the sentences that are left? I only have A and D. Right? What is the problem? The problem is sentence A, which is nobody likes to practice it, no matter how easy and how beneficial it is. Right? So, are you following? So basically, what we see here is, we understand that, we followed a sequence, we identified the topic sentence, we looked at the keyword, highlighting focus word, and then we took it further. Right? We asked questions, and then the only remaining sentence is D. This is the worst drawback in us. What is that? That nobody likes to practice it, no matter how easy and beneficial it is. So there we have all of our 6 sentences unraveled. But it doesn't stop here. Once we've got the answers, we need to still go and answer the questions that follow. Now, a lot of us tend to get confused and make mistakes here. This is the crucial part, right? We need to get those 5 marks. So let's go ahead and apply the solution that we've arrived at to the questions and answer them accurately. So which of the following should be the first statement after rearrangement? We already know that the first statement was C. So that would be 3. For the first one, the answer is 3. Alright. What about the second one? Let's look at the second one. Which of the following should be the second statement after rearrangement? Well, we figured that the second statement would be the explanation, the fact, the principle, which is B. So for the second one, the answer is 2, right? B. Which of the following should be the third statement after rearrangement? Well, let's check that out. Yeah, the third statement we said was, that's the fact, principle. Every one of us agrees with this fact and principle without reservation. That would be E. So our for the third question, the answer is fifth one, E. Which of the following should be the fifth statement after rearrangement? Okay. Fifth one, after the third one, which was E, then F was the fourth one. So the fifth one has to be A. Nobody likes to practice it no matter what. So A would come under 1, right? That's the answer for the fourth one. Which of the following should be the sixth statement after rearrangement, which is our last statement? Our last statement we know is D. This is the worst drawback in us in our national character. So that would be 4. Alright. So it is important for you to not just get the sequence right, but also to it is complete, and you get your marks only when you answer all these questions accurately. Let's move on to our second jumble sentence. Reading. Again, we have a paragraph which is divided into 6 sentences, and all of them are jumbled. So let's identify the topic sentence. That's our first step, right? Had it not been for them, who's that them referring to? Cannot be my topic sentence. Today, almost all the countries are facing the heat of, seems like the topic sentence. Moving on. One of these is the strict RBI. One of these, meaning there has to be a preceding sentence, because this is more of an explanation sentence. This could have led to, what is that this referring to? Indeed, can't be my topic sentence. However, contrasting clue word, it cannot be my topic sentence. Like others, descriptive clue word, which means there has to be a preceding sentence establishing or laying the foundation about what is it that they are referring to. So having seen all the sentences, I understand that my topic sentences is B. Today, almost all the countries are facing the heat of recession, right? Now, if you look at what is the highlighting word or the focus word or the key word in that sentence, it's making reference to all the countries, and I also have another keyword which is recession, right? Now we all understand what recession is. It's a period of economic decline, right, where production, employment, and even earnings fall below the normal levels, right? That's recession for you. So we need to look at a sentence or the sequential sentence which makes reference to those other countries, and maybe probably signaling out one country, separately, and then also making reference to that recession. Now, which sentence would that be? Would it be A, C, D, E, or F? Now, if you look at it, I know sentence F, like others, making reference to the other countries, India too, signaling out our country, has not remained immune to this epidemic. Now, epidemic, again, makes reference to the recession. What is an epidemic? An epidemic is a rapid spread, right, affecting an area or a population at the same time. Something negative happening right there. So having said that, F becomes a sequential sentence making reference to all the countries and making reference to the recession. So India too has not remained immune to the epidemic. So in this sentence, what could be the highlighting or keyword? I know India has been signaled out. So is there a sentence making reference to India again? Do we have it in A? Do we have it in C, D, or E? Now, I do have in A, Indian banks would have had their hands tied down. Had it not been for them, that's the starting sentence, but I can't place it. The them seems to be talking to me, then more than one subject, right? So that cannot be, though it's referring to Indian banks. Which is the other sentence that is making reference to India? E. However, there are a few things which help India in bouncing back from the state of recession. So if you see, introducing recession, introducing that India is also affected by it, and then the next sequential sentence is telling you that, you know what, but there is something else that India does to bounce back from this state. And what are those things? There are a few things. So if you look at it, the highlighting phrase or the key phrase that we need to pay attention from E would be, there are a few things. So are one of those few things mentioned in any other sentence? Yes, it is C. One of these is the strict RBI and SEBI rules which regulated banking sector very efficiently. Okay, so what happened as a result of that? Which one? I've left with A and B. So had it been not for them, right? Had it been not for them, Indian banks would have had their hands tied down. So that them here is referring to the RBI and SEBI rules. Okay, so what could have happened if their hands had been tied down actually? See here, I'm using the strategy of questions, right? What could have happened? The last sentence. And anyway, that's the only remaining sentence. This could have led to massive losses to them, which could have percolated to other sectors as well. What is the meaning of this word percolated? Percolated means something that, is spreading gradually, right? Something that spreads gradually or slowly. So there we have unraveled all of our sentences. Let's go ahead and answer those questions and make sure we got that right. So which of the following sentence should be the third after rearrangement? That's our first question. So if you go back, we said the first topic sentence was B, the second sentence was F, and the third sentence was E, right? So to answer the question, third sentence would be 3. E. Which of the following sentences should be the first after rearrangement? We know the answer. That was B, right? Today almost all the countries are facing the heat of recession. That was the first sentence. So that was B, and that would be 2. So for the second question, the option is 2. Which of the following sentences should be the second after rearrangement? So the second one we told was F. Like others, India too has not remained immune to the epidemic. So F comes in option 5. So that's your answer for the third question, second after rearrangement. Fourth question, which of the following sentences should be the sixth sentence after rearrangement, which is our last sentence? Our last sentence we know was D. This could have led to massive losses to them, which could have percolated to other sectors as well. So D would be 3. So for the fourth question, the answer is the third option, D. Which of the following, the last question, fifth one, which of the following sentences should be the fifth after rearrangement? The fifth one, right before the last one, was had it not been for them, A. Correct? So, and that would be option 3. The fifth after rearrangement would be option 3A. So there we have not only unraveled the jumbled sentences, but we've also gone ahead and answered the questions accurately. Do remember, unless you answer the questions accurately, you don't get your full 5 marks. Okay, let's move on to the next jumbled sentence. We're moving on to the second variation, the pattern, where I said there is a topic part, and then there is a closing part, and the parts in between of the sentence is jumbled. Now for a pattern like this, what you ideally need to do is identify the subject, identify the action, and then connect and create the remaining parts. Couple of language components like idioms or just phrases come in handy in this particular pattern. Let's understand that when we attempt these question types. The first one that we have is the Constitution of India mandates. So that's the topic part that is given to us, and then the parts in between P, Q, R and S are jumbled, and then we have the closing part, welfare will be promoted. Now there are various strategies that you can apply to a pattern like this. One, you can go from the last part, seeing which is the part that sequences or attaches itself to the closing part, or we could ask questions, that's another way, or we could look for idioms or phrases which we are familiar with and know that, this, like for example, Q has to be followed by R, or P has to be followed by Q because of that, idiomatic expression or a phrase. So let's see if we are able to find and apply any of those strategies that we just discussed. So the Constitution of India mandates what? What does it mandate? Primary duty, mandates must convince, mandates the welfare of the people, or mandates a party seeking power? We don't know. Let's understand that the Constitution of India mandates what? Normally something that answers the question what or who is a subject, right? So when I look at the subject here, it either has to be a party seeking power or the welfare of the people. It has to be R or S, right? So let's go with option R and see if the sequence follows through. The Constitution of India mandates the welfare of the people as what? As the must? Can't be. As the a party seeking? Can't be. So it has to be as the primary duty of the government, and must convince the people that they're, then where do I fit in S, a party seeking power? It doesn't make sense, right? So let's go back. So we see the Constitution of India mandates the welfare of the people as the primary duty of the government, and a party seeking power must convince the people that their welfare will be promoted. So that's one way of looking at it. The second way you could say is, which is the part which will connect to the closing statement, right? Convince the people that their what? If you look at Q, convince the people that their what? That their welfare will be promoted. So if I go by the closing part, I know Q has to be my last statement. Now always keep looking at your options. If you look at your options, out of 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, the only option where Q is the last part is option 1, right? And let's go back and follow the first strategy that we applied. The Constitution of India mandates what? The welfare of the people, R. So I know that both of these strategies that I applied goes ahead and gives me the answer as option 1. So for the first one, what we've simply done is we've just asked questions. We've asked questions, we've identified the subject, and then we've identified the action, and then we've connected and created the remainder of the sentence. So what is the sequence? The Constitution of India mandates the welfare of the people as a primary duty of the government, and a party seeking power must convince the people that their welfare will be promoted. And the answer is option 1. Let's look at another question of the same pattern to understand this better. Here we have the strongest point in favor of who? Favor of, again I need the subject, right? Remember, questions who or what, answer always a point out to the subject. So favor of equal, favor of justice is done, favor of basis, favor of democracy. Democracy, here is my subject. So the strongest point in favor of democracy is that everyone is what? Again, you know what democracy is, right? For the people, of the people, all of that. So having said that, which is talking about being equal for everybody, right? We understand that about democracy. So is that everyone is equal in the eyes of law, and you can automatically connect and create the remainder of the system. And justice is done on the basis of merit rather than on religion, caste or status. So here we go. Again, we've applied the strategy of identifying the subject, who or what answers you. That's the question that answers you or takes you to the, points you to the subject, right? So the strongest point in favor of who? Favor of democracy is that everyone is what? Equal in the eyes of law, and justice is done on the basis of merit rather than on religion, caste or status. So which is the sequence that gives you that? S. So that would be option 4, right? The strongest point in favor of democracy is that everyone is equal in the eyes of law, and justice is done on the basis of merit rather than on religion, caste, or status. So you see that. So for patterns like this, it's pretty simple. Identify the subject, identify the action, connect and create the remainder of the sentence. Let's look at one more. If the government wants, what? If the government wants new entrants, and if the government wants to change the rules, okay, if the government wants, make sure the preposition to is missing, so I can't add that with are. If the government wants the game, it should allow new entrants and make sure that there is, okay, again, so it's going all over the place now. But if you look at those sentences, is there a phrase or an idiom where, which is helping you connect new entrants and to change the rules of the game? Rules of the game, right? Have you noticed that? Rules of the game is a idiom, right? Rules of the game. You play by the rules of the game. It's an idiom. It's a set expression. So having said that, Q and S. So I know that S has to follow Q. Now from my options, which are the options that where Q is followed by S, which is option 3, right? S is following Q, and then I have option 5. S is following Q. These are the only two options. So I've limited my options. I have to choose between 3 and 5. Now let's go back, try and apply which one seems logically right. So if I go by 3, if the government wants, and then it starts with R. If the government wants, make sure the preposition to is missing. So that cannot be my sequence right there. I've eliminated 3. So it has to be 5. Let's go back and look at it. If the government wants to change the rules of the game, it should allow who? It should allow new entrants and make sure that there is a level playing field. So there you go. You've unraveled it and you've arrived at the answer, which is option 5, QSPR. Great. So some of the strategies that we've applied here, as mentioned earlier, is we've identified the subject, always asking the question who or what. Then we've identified the action, we've connected and created the remainder of the sentence. We've also looked for, in this particular example, we saw an idiomatic expression, rules of the game. We limited our options and we looked at both the options and saw grammatically what would be a logical fit, right? So here ends jumbled sentences for you. Only by practice you would learn to identify keywords or clue words in each sentence, and it becomes easier for you to get to the answer quickly without wasting time. So remember the strategies that we discussed in the beginning. If you don't have descriptive clue words or sequential clue words or cause and effect or contrasting clue words, always look for keywords highlighted within each sentence, which will help you answer and connect the remainder of the sentence. Ask questions. Also, don't waste time reading the entire sentence. Identify the topic sentence first, which is always the easiest part, and then is when the challenge begins. So, but for variations like this, where we looked at a different pattern, identify the subject, identify the action, and then connect and create the sentence. So keep practicing. I will see you guys in the next session. Let's look at our third jumbled sentence. Again, I have 6 sentences. Let's identify the topic sentence. I was pleased by their reaction. Who is that there? Can't be my topic sentence. Writing my speech was easy. Why was he writing his speech? What is the need? There has to be a preceding sentence. Cannot be my topic sentence. Instead of throwing out there, again, who is that there referring to? Can't be my topic sentence. When a reputed company invited me, seems like a topic sentence. It was an, what is that it referring to? Can't be my topic sentence. What I saw, however, when I opened the bags, again, it looks like a sentence that comes somewhere in between. So obviously it cannot be my topic sentence. So out of the 6 sentences, we realize that the topic sentence is D. When a reputed company invited me to deliver a lecture on corporate social responsibility, I agreed. Okay, great. We've identified the topic sentence. Now, from here, what are some of the key words or highlighting words that you can pick up? So if somebody has to deliver a lecture, they have to do some preparation, right? So which of the sentences talking about or making reference to him or her preparing the lecture? B. Writing. Writing my speech was easy, but I was unsure if I could motivate the employees to donate to those affected by the earthquake. So it's a corporate social responsibility, which means they're taking some responsibility for some cause. And we know what the cause is, right? There was an earthquake, so they want to donate. This person is going to address the employees so they can go ahead and make some donations towards that particular cause. Great. So we have a picture in mind now. Moving on from B, what can we look at? So he's prepared. He was asked to deliver a lecture. He's prepared on that. What next? There has to be some sequence in terms of him having gone and spoken, and how did the employees react? So which sentence is bringing in that logical sequence? So basically, he approached the company, right? So which sentence is giving that? E. It was an affluent company, and the well-dressed employees who met me afterwards, which means we know that he's delivered the lecture, promised to send lots of donations to my office. So look at that sequence right there. He was invited, he prepared. While he was preparing, he was thinking, how do I customize my lecture in such a way that I get some donations? So then the introduction of the company itself, he thinks, he goes there, he understands that it's an affluent company, and then the employees are all well dressed, and then something else happens. Afterwards they promise to send lots of donations to my office. So basically, after this, we're looking at how did he react, what was his reaction, what was his response, how did he feel, because he set a goal and he is seeing a result. So which sentence is capturing his reaction? A. I was pleased by their reaction, right? So when you start asking questions and when you start logically trying to connect, right, put two and two together, it becomes much easier. So I was pleased by their reaction. Now, did something else happen? So he's waiting for the donations. Did the donations arrive? Did it not arrive? What happened? Which sentence is talking about that? Is it C or F? F, of course, what I saw. However, when I opened the bags of donations they had sent, shocked me. Why was he shocked? Strategy of question. The last sentence that's left is C. Instead of throwing out their unusable articles, they had transferred them to my office in the name of donations. There you go. So that's your unravel sequence right there, right? So if you noticed, there is not a lot of clue words or hint words here, but we've only got support from highlighting words or logical words within each sentence, and by asking questions we were able to connect the dots, right? Let's answer the questions now. So which of the following should be the second sentence after rearrangement? The second sentence we know is when we saw the first sentence was D, when a reputed company invited me, and then the second sentence was him preparing the speech, which was B. So for the first one, the answer would be 1, B. In the second question, which of the following should be the third sentence after rearrangement? The third sentence is him going to the company itself, right? So it was an affluent company, so that would be E. So the third sentence would be E, and that would be option 5 for the second question, E, right? What about the third question? Which of the following should be the fourth sentence after rearrangement? So right after E, what's the fourth one? So right after E, we know that because they promised, he was pleased by the reaction, that has to be E. So for the fourth one, it's A, so the answer is option 1. Fourth question, which of the following should be the sixth sentence after rearrangement, which is our last sentence, right? We know the last sentence because he was just shocked at what he saw. That would be the last sentence, which was C. Instead of throwing out their unusable articles, they had transferred them to my office in the name of donations. So C being the last sentence, which falls under option 2, right? That would be for the fourth question. The fifth question, which of the following should be the first sentence after rearrangement? The first sentence, we are aware. So the first sentence was, of course, when a reputed company invited me to deliver a lecture, which is D. So that would be option 4. Option 4 would be your first sentence. So we've covered that there. So great. So we unraveled it and we answered the questions. Let's do one more just to make sure we nailed jumbled sentences. Well, this is a story-based jumbled sentence. It's going to be much easier. But then again, we still need to focus and look for highlighting words, clue words, right? Let's not forget that. Let's read. We have 6 sentences again. All of a sudden, the mother duck saw a fox. Now, all of a sudden, again, doesn't seem like a topic sentence to me. Seems like a sentence that comes in between. The mother duck ran. Why? Why did the mother duck run? If you notice, there has to be an introduction of the characters. Whenever it's a story, there has to be an introduction of the characters. So suddenly, the mother duck is coming out of the picture from nowhere. So we need to find out who. What about the mother duck? The ducklings hurried towards the lake. Why? Why do they hurry towards the lake? Cannot be my topic sentence. There has to be a preceding sentence. A mother duck and her little ducklings were on their way to the lake one day. Now that seems to be like a topic sentence. You know how these stories begin, right? One day there was a man who lived, right? So let's keep that in the parking lot. Let's move on. E. The fox stared in disbelief. Why? Can't be my topic sentence. When the fox saw her, he became angry. Again, doesn't seem like an introductory sentence. So out of the 6 sentences in terms of a story developing, right, and the introduction to a story, I understand that sentence D is my introductory sentence. A mother duck and her little ducklings were on their way to the lake one day. Alright, great. So they set out to the lake, and then what happened? What's the sequence? All of a sudden, the mother duck saw a fox in the distance, right? A was frightened and shouted, "Children, hurry to the lake, there's a fox." Now, when the mother duck is giving instructions to the ducklings, what do the ducklings do? The next sequential reaction. Which sentence is referring to that? Sentence C. The ducklings hurried towards the lake and the mother duck began to walk back and forth, dragging one wing to the ground, on the ground. So I want you to picture this, I want you to visualize this. So the ducklings listen to the mother, they hurry towards the lake, but the mother duck is doing something weird. It's walking back and forth, dragging one wing on the ground. So it's giving a picture that maybe, it's hurt or something happened to the mother duck. So is there a sentence making reference to that? And all this while, the fox is obviously watching all of this, right? So which sentence is talking about it? Making reference to the weird action of the mother duck, right? That's exactly the sentence that we're looking at. F. When the fox saw her, he became happy, as he thought that the mother duck was hurt. Why would he think that it was hurt? Because the mother duck was walking back and forth, dragging one wing on the ground and couldn't fly, and that he could easily catch and eat her, right? So that's why the fox was happy. So when you ask questions, you come up with sequential responses. And then what happens? But the mother duck ran, leading the fox away from the lake. B. The mother duck ran, leading the fox away from the lake, and as soon as the fox came very close, the mother duck quickly spread her wings and rose up in the air. So imagine that sight again, right? So he thought he could catch the mother duck and eat her because it was hurt, but the mother duck ran, leading the fox away from the lake, and when it got close, the mother duck did something, extraordinary. Spread her wings and rose up in the air. So it's almost like a defense, defending her ducklings. So what happens at the end? The fox stared in disbelief at the mother duck and her ducklings, as he could not reach the ducklings because they were in the middle of the lake by now. So that's your last sequence right there. So this is a story. right? So when it comes to a story, you only need to look for clue phrases within the sentence, which is helping you connect the sentence logically. And that's exactly what we did right now. But let's go ahead and answer those questions. So which of the following should be the first sentence after rearrangement? The introductory sentence. D. A mother duck and her little ducklings were on their way to the lake one day. So D would be option 4. Second question. Which of the following should be the second sentence after rearrangement? The second sentence we know is when the mother duck all of a sudden saw the fox. So that would be A. So second sentence A, and that is option 1. Third question. Which of the following should be the third sentence after rearrangement? Third sentence we know is the ducklings following the mother's instructions. So the ducklings hurried towards the lake and the mother duck. So that's option, that's sentence C. But which option is it here? It's in the third option itself. For the third question, the answer is option 3, C. Fourth question. Which of the following should be the fourth sentence after rearrangement? So the fourth one we know is the ducklings hurried towards the lake. That was the third one. So the fourth one is because of that weird action that the mother duck was doing when the fox saw her. F, right? He became happy as he thought that the mother duck was hurt. So F would be the answer, and that comes in option 5. Fifth question, the last question. Which of the following should be the sixth sentence after rearrangement? The sixth sentence, of course, is that the fox stared in disbelief at the mother duck and the ducklings as he could not reach the ducklings because they were in the middle of the lake by now. That is E. And where is that option? E is in option 4. Alright, so there we have answered all the questions accurately after we have sequenced it right. Alright, now this is one pattern where we had a paragraph divided into sentences, and the sentences jumbled. However, there is another variation to this pattern where there is a sentence which is divided into parts. Now normally sometimes you have the topic, the beginning phrase, the topic part of it, and then you have the closing part of it, and then the parts in between are jumbled. So let's look at that type as well and understand how to unravel that.